Welcome back. We're talking to Matt Haggman, one of 8 candidates running for the Democratic nomination to replace Ileana Ros-Lehtinen in Florida's 27th Congressional District. All right, let's talk. I want to get to health care in a second, but let's talk money.
Sure.
You've raised a lot of money. I think you've raised close to $1 million. There's been some criticism from some progressives who think that a lot of the money you're taking comes from Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, a lot of Wall Street firms, investment firms, and that there somehow clouds you. How do you respond to that? Are you beholden to Wall Street?
Jim, absolutely not. And Jim, this is nonsense. Jim, when this campaign started, in August, when I declared my candidacy, had no idea what to expect and sat down and just uploaded all of my contacts and started calling friends and neighbors and saying, I'm running for office. We need a new way forward. I want to be part of that solution, and I would like you to join me. And the response has been overwhelming. And it's all contributions have been from people. In fact, I'm the only candidate in this race to declare that I will not accept any contributions from political actions committees. I mean, Jim,
why is that?
What is wrong? Because that is what's wrong with Washington. I mean, today we have corporate and special interest political action committees that are writing checks to members of Congress seeking a particular outcome and vote. That is why Washington is dysfunctional, and that is the change that I want to bring to Washington. But we need to start by walking the walk now, and my campaign is only supported by people.
So you won't. So if you're the Democratic nominee, you won't have like a separate PAC that's raising money for you to spend on your behalf?
I will not. This will be a campaign solely supported by people, and that's it.
All right, I want to talk about Obamacare.
And that's the sort of change I talk about, a new way forward. Those are the sort of things we need to start doing, and we need to start doing them. What I so often find is Democratic candidates talk about the need for for campaign finance reform, but don't actually do it.
All right, let's talk about Obamacare. You say you want to protect Obamacare, that they're trying, that's cruel and immoral, what the president and the Republicans have done to try to kick 22 million people off of Obamacare. Your district, this district here, has a large population on Obamacare. But is it not a fact that there are serious problems with regard to Obamacare? It did not bring down the cost of health care. What would you do, other than just saying you want to keep it, how would you fix it?
Well, we need to work to fix it. You mentioned cost as an issue, right? I mean, as we think, one of, to me, the big issues going forward is building a 21st century economy that works for everyone, right? Jobs in this country are going to be changing dramatically due to technology, due to innovation, all of that, right? A key part of making a 21st century economy that works for everyone, of closing the opportunity gap, is having affordable health care for all. With the issues that you talk about.
So are you in favor of single payer?
I am in favor of single payer.
So just universal Medicare, basically, Medicaid, just across the board?
I am. I do support that. I think that does make sense, but I also say...
But you understand, wait a second, but you understand what that means. I don't think a lot of people understand that when folks such as yourself or Bernie Sanders advocate that, right now my insurance is through my employer. I would no longer have my employer insurance, right?
But Jim, let me bring sort of an approach here that if I were elected to Congress that I'd want to bring. And that's, let's focus on solving the problem and be open to good ideas wherever they might come from. What I mean is, what is the problem here? We need to find a way where everyone can get affordable health care, right? To have health care universal in this country. And then let's think about how we can best deliver that. Is that through Medicare for all? Is that through a public option? Is that through, universal health care as you just described it? I think as we think about this, we need to be open to different ways to do it. I think clearly we're seeing, though, just left to private markets, we're not able to provide health insurance for everyone to get affordable health care, but we need to be open-minded and willing to have the courage to embrace ideas wherever they might come from.
So as we start looking at, I guess when you use the phrase like a new way forward, is that the phrase?
That's what I said, yes.
New way forward.
Yeah.
So
well, we can't do this. We must move away from the same old thing.
I got to be honest with you. It sounds a little like it's like a phrase that you market tested and looks good on a poster.
Well,
I don't know what it means.
Well, Jim,
though.
I must say, we haven't done a single poll, so it's certainly not market tested.
So new way forward. I don't know what that means.
Well, Jim, the thought is that right now that we're at a moment that we can't continue this back and forth, right? We have problems, whether it's the opportunity gap in this country, where for so many families it's getting harder and harder to get ahead, whether it's dealing with transportation in our community, whether it's finally addressing sea level rise in our community, a problem that's only going to grow worse, whether it's bringing trust in our democracy. We need to think anew about how we solve these problems. My argument is I think we also need people who have different life experiences, different backgrounds, who can bring those to bear in trying to solve these problems and get out of this back and forth right now. We're often feel like we're just watching people who have their poll-tested messages, who put them out there, and then go back to their respective corners without focusing on solving the problem.
Matt Haggman running for Congress as a Democratic, hopefully as a Democratic nominee in the 27th District. We'll have you back again. We'll talk more. Thank you very much for coming in. We'll be right back after the break.